Hey folks, Joel here from Remo Nutrients R&D, and today, for the first time, we're going to be doing a mailbag episode where we answer some questions that you, the viewer, have asked us, and maybe clarify a couple points up. Now, we've had a lot of questions about gardening techniques and methods, and why we do what we do, and what's in our product line. So I thought I'd take some time just to kind of clarify some of these questions up, and hopefully in the future, if you have any more questions, you can send them our way and we can get to answering some of those questions that may cause some confusion. Okay, let's get started. Okay, question number one, Dank33 from Michigan asks, what is the best method for transplanting baby plants into bigger containers? Now, there's a lot of conflicting opinions on this, and some people say, oh, you start in a small container, then cascade up to a large container, or you go right into the big container, whatever. Now, the issue with the cascading, where you start in a small one, then move your way up, and move your way up, and move your way up, is every single time you take your plant out of this container, you're exposing it to bacteria, contaminants. You're also shocking the plant a little bit. So the more damage you do to the plant, the slower it's going to grow. So I know Remo personally will only do 3 transplants through his whole growth process. So he'll start with the propagating cycle using either Jiffy Pucks or Rockwool, depending on what he's growing. He'll move his way into 5.5 inch squared grow containers, the kind that you get at the nursery. They're cheap and you can buy them by the dozens. And then he'll transplant directly into a 20-gallon pail. Now, when you're doing your transplant, you don't want to water 20 gallons worth of plant. You really don't need to. So once you do your transplant, you should only water as much as the plant that you're transplanting will need at that time. Then once the root expands, you water accordingly. Now, in the second phase as well, a lot of people use these Dixie cups and they'll punch a bunch of holes in the bottom, and then they'll do their clones in or their middle stage in these Dixie cups. Now, we found that these just aren't big enough in order to get yourself a nice hardy plant, and so try something a little bit bigger. Try these 5.5 inch squares, and you won't be disappointed. And then transplant those directly into your final grow container. Chris from Ontario, Canada asks, is there a best way to order the nutrient addition? So I think what he's trying to ask is there an order that you're supposed to put your products into a reservoir? Unofficially, yes, there is. Every manufacturer will have instructions on how to use their products. First and foremost, before you kind of make up your own thing, always follow the instructions. It's the easiest way to get the results that you're looking for. The manufacturer will make claims on what the product will do, and those are typically based on the methods that they've set out on the label or in their feed chart. Unofficially, you're going to want to start with your micro products first, then you'll move on to your plant food, and then you'll move on to your additives after that. So add them all one by one, starting with your micro, then going to your food, then going to your additives. Under no circumstances do you want to take every single product, throw it into a bucket, and then dump it into your reservoir. If there are any organic components on there and they get overwhelmed with the synthetic components, you will denature them, you will kill them, and you'll lose the benefits that you would have got if you had waited to dilute them down first and then added everything one by one. So under no circumstances, add them all together in one container, then dump them in. You want to add them one by one, starting with your micro, moving on to your plant food, and then going to your supplements after that. Chad from Vancouver, BC asks, why do we have so many products? Why can't we just come out with one plant food and one supplement? Well, the reason we do this is there are certain chemistry elements that need to be taken into consideration. So just because you have 2 different things that you need at one time doesn't mean you can mix them together. Perfect example is if you took oil and vinegar and you added them together to create a vinaigrette. You're not going to use that vinaigrette for everything that you need oil for or everything you need vinaigrette for. It's key to keep these things separate so that during certain times you can use them for different purposes. So a perfect example is with our Grow Micro Bloom formula. So we have a 2-part base nutrient formula. The micronutrients are independent between the two. So this is the micronutrients that your plant needs to grow in general, and then these 2 formulas are the different kinds of plant food that you need during different stages of growth. Now you could ask, okay, well, why don't we just mix this jug with this one and this one so that we only have to buy 2 products instead of 3? Well, the simple fact of the matter is these will not last together in the same jug. So if we were to put these together, they would over time separate and you would lose the benefits of the jug. So you need to have a two-part system. It's as simple as we can make it, and honestly, we've reduced the program down as much as possible. The next thing on the chain is going to be our supplements, and so if you really want to look at it, we've reduced the redundancy of the product line as much as possible. So redundancy is having one component in multiple products, where if you only need that in one thing, then why are you using it in multiple products? It's just, it costs more and it's inefficient. So we've got 4 supplements that we use that are a combination of probably around 12 different products that could be separated out, and we've combined them to as little product as we could in order to give you the best value. So this one here is our Velo Kelp. It's our kelp supplement, increases tissue growth, root strength, and of course it supplements the metabolic system to help with uptaking nutrients. This one here is our PK booster. So this encourages flower development and helps you get those big massive flowers in the end product. This one here is Magnifical. This is our calcium, magnesium, nitrogen product. So it's kind of a boost if you need to give your product a little more nitrogen in the early phases of growth. And then last but not least, we have Nature's Candy, which is our flavor and beneficial bacteria supplement. So we've taken a flavor booster and a beneficial product, or a beneficial food product, and we've added them together so you don't need to buy 2 separate products. So if you really want to break it down, we only have 4 supplements and a 2-part base nutrients. And then of course we've got our Remo's root cloning gel, which is really in a league of its own because it doesn't really, it's not really concerned in the other with the other products. But I mean, if you need to clone and propagate, this will be your one-stop shop. So I mean, in answering your question, we don't really have a lot of products. We've got the least amount that we could chemically get without having things break and separate in the bottle. So there's an answer to your question, and on to the next one. Okay, Dustin from San Diego, California says, why is Magnifical phased out at the end of the feed program? Now, if you know anything about the NPK, or what NPK means, it's the 3 numbers that are on the front of all fertilizer products. Now, NPK, or nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, are the 3 substances that encourage different style or different portions of your plant to start growing. So nitrogen is mainly the substance that helps with foliage growth, or adding the green to your plant. Phosphorus is the substance that's used for flower development, and potassium is used for stalk hardiness, if you will, and root development. So with Magnifical, if you look at the values here, you've got a 300, so it's got more nitrogen than it does phosphorus and potassium. So this would be used to help with foliage growth and help with getting some green back into your plant. Now, during your flower stage, your plant is going to be focusing all its attention and all of its efforts on diverting the energy up into the flowers to get them as big as possible. You don't really want anything else that's going to encourage it to go into re-vegging or putting more effort into growing leaves, when you want those flowers to be nice and big. So with Magnifical, you'd start it off, and what it does is it helps to neutralize the pH of your soil while adding nitrogen to your plant. And then once you start getting into flower, where this isn't what your plant is looking to do, then you want to start phasing it out and start putting in the astroflower, which will help with flower development. So really it's quite basic, and it's a great product, but you don't need to use it the whole time. Okay, last question of the episode. Lauren from YouTube says, can we see a grow off between Remo and Joel? Unfortunately not. I don't grow the same plants that he does, and he's done extremely well in the field that he has. If you want to check it out, or you have an interest in what he does, please, if you aren't already subscribed to him, check him out at Urban Grower or Urban Remo, and you'll see some amazing videos in his sector. But when it comes to competing against the guy, there's a reason why his face is on my shirt and my face isn't here. He is excellent at what he does, and I would not be able to compete against him. So unfortunately, we will not see a grow off. That's it for all of the questions that we have for this episode. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us, or you have any inquiries regarding our product line, growing tips, whatever, please do not hesitate to comment on this video, or private message us directly through YouTube or any of our social media outlets. We will get it, we will read it, and we'll try to address whatever we can. If you need any more information on our product line, please check us out at www.remonutrients.com. This has been Joel from Remo Nutrients Experience R&D. Thanks for watching.